بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is Unit 4 vocabulary building, which means that we will be learning lots of new words today from the name itself, vocabulary building. But before we do that, open your workbook, page 112, exercise C. Write the verbs in the correct tense to finish the hypothetical or past hypothetical conditional sentences. Again, write the verbs in the correct tense to finish the hypothetical or past hypothetical conditional sentences. Of course, you remember them from our previous grammar lesson, the hypothetical in the present and in the past. The first one is already done. Ali hadn't sat out in the sun all day. He might not have gotten a sunburn, and the verb is get. So let's get to number one now. If he have, and the verb here is have. The verb here is have. If he have a fast car, he would drive at high speeds all the time. And notice have, is it present or past? Yes, present. So we're dealing here with a present hypothetical. Again, if he have a fast car, he would drive at high speeds all the time. So now we know it's present hypothetical. So how do we answer this one here? Let's check the correct answer here. If he had a fast car. So we just take the past tense of the verb here. If he had a fast car, he would drive at high speeds all the time. Number two, if it hadn't rained all weekend, the game be cancelled. Again, if it hadn't rained all weekend, the game be cancelled. So what do we put here? Do we use might, would, or could? And what's the rest of it? Again, if it hadn't rained all weekend, the game be cancelled. So the game is cancelled now. This is a hypothetical situation. So what's the correct answer here? Let's check the answer now. The game would not have been cancelled. The game would not have been cancelled. So again, if it hadn't rained all weekend, the game would not, it means I'm 100% sure. The game would not have been cancelled. Number three, if Sabah get cold, she would have put on a blanket. Again, if Sabah get cold, she would have put on a blanket. So what's the correct answer here in the if clause? So now we're answering the if clause here. Again, if Sabah and the verb is get cold, she would have put on a blanket. So the correct answer is had gotten. If Sabah had gotten cold, she would have put on a blanket. Very good. Number four, if he be smart, he wouldn't drive so fast. Number four again, if he, and here the verb is be smart, he wouldn't drive so fast. So what's the correct answer here? Let's check the answer together. If he were smart, we said were because it's in the if clause. If he were smart, he wouldn't drive so fast. Again, if he were smart, he wouldn't drive so fast. Is he smart? No. If he were smart, he wouldn't drive so fast. Number five, if we had reviewed our notes every day, we and the verb here is remember the lesson better. This is the result clause. If we had reviewed our notes every day, we and the verb remember the lesson better. So what's the answer here? If we had reviewed our notes every day, we might have remembered the lesson better. We can't say would because we're not 100% sure that we would remember, so that's why we used might. We might have remembered the lesson better. Number 6, if I walked to school every day, if I walked, past here, past tense, if I walked to school every day, I stay in shape. So, if I walked to school every day, this is a present hypothetical. So, I would stay in shape, or you can answer with might. Maybe I might stay in shape. So, if I walked, present hypothetical, because we use the past tense here. If I walked to school every day, I would stay in shape. Number 7, if I had the time, I and the verb learn to speak French. If I had the time, this is also present hypothetical. So, yes, it's the same one. I would learn to speak French, or you can also answer with might, because I'm not sure that I would learn to speak French, maybe another language. If I had the time, I would or I might learn to speak French. Number 8, if I sleep so late, I might have been finished by now. So we know now that this is a past hypothetical. If I sleep, and the verb here is sleep, so late, I might have been finished by now. So how do we answer this one? Let's check the correct answer together. If I hadn't slept, past perfect. Why? Because this is a past hypothetical. I might have been finished by now. So moving on to exercise D. Exercise D on the same page 112. Finish the sentences. Use hypothetical conditionals or past hypothetical conditionals. So you can finish them any way you want. Again, finish the sentences. Use hypothetical conditionals, meaning the present, of course, or past hypothetical conditionals. Number 1, if I spoke English perfectly. If I spoke English perfectly, if I spoke, this is a present hypothetical because I used the past tense. So if I spoke English perfectly, I would or I might do something. So let's check the answer together. I wouldn't be in this class. If I spoke English perfectly, I wouldn't be in this class. I would travel more. I might travel more. So you can continue the sentence any way you want. Number 2, if you hadn't forgotten to do your homework, what's the result? If you hadn't forgotten, so this is a past hypothetical. So you might have done something. So for example here, you would have done better on the test. If you hadn't forgotten to do your homework, you would have done better on the test. Number 3, I would go to Paris. So this is the result here. What's the condition here? I would go to Paris. This is, of course, a present hypothetical. So maybe you say, if I had money or something like that. If I could go anywhere, I would go to Paris. If I had money, I would go to Paris. You can fill the sentence any way you want, as long as it is correct. Number 4, she might not have gotten sick. So this is a present hypothetical. She might not have gotten sick. She might not have gotten sick. So try to guess what's the conditional here. Try to guess what's the if clause here. If she had worn a jacket. So she didn't wear a jacket. If she had worn a jacket, she might not have gotten sick, of course, because of the cold weather. Number 5, if I were you, we will say to your friend, if I were you, if I was in your place, if I were you, I would did this or I would done that, and so on. So how do we continue the sentence? If I were you, so you can say anything here. I would call him. So if I were you, I would call him. Maybe the manager of the store, the conversation between Khalid and Majid. If I were you, I would call the manager, and so on. So number 5, if I were you, I would call him. Number 6, if he hadn't eaten so much, so maybe he got sick or something. If he hadn't eaten so much, he wouldn't have been so full. So he is so full. Why? Because he ate so much. If he hadn't eaten so much, he wouldn't have been so full. Number 7, if money grew on trees. If money grew on trees, so what would you do if money grew on trees? You can answer anything, of course. If money grew on trees, this is a present hypothetical because we used the past tense grew here. So I would be a gardener. I would be a gardener because a gardener works with trees. I would pick the money up. So if money grew on trees, I would be a gardener. Number 8, if she had taken the bus home from school. If she had taken the bus home from school, what would happen? Yes, she wouldn't have gotten lost. So she was lost. If she had taken the bus, she wouldn't be. Number 9, I might have done well on the test. I might have done well, so he didn't do well. I might have done well on the test. So what's the if? The if clause here? Yes, for example, if I had studied, I might have done on the test, but obviously he didn't study. Number 10, if I found a wallet, what would you do? If I found a wallet, I would, for example, I would take it to the police, I would look for the owner, and so on. I would call the police. So you can answer any way you want. If I had found your wallet, so this is a past hypothetical. If I had found your wallet, I would have returned it to you. If I had found, this is past perfect. If I had found your wallet, I would have returned it to you. Number 12, if the world were a perfect place. If the world were a perfect place. So if the world were a perfect place, what would happen? What's the result clause here? Of course, you can put anything you want. There wouldn't be any crime. There wouldn't be any crime. Number 13, if my watch hadn't broken. If my watch hadn't broken, for example, I would come on time, or I would have been on time, and so on. I would have been on time, or I would have came on time, and so on. 14, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here right now. So what's the if clause here? That's the result, you being there. The hypothetical, you not being there. I wouldn't be here right now. So let's see one of the answers. If I were rich, I wouldn't be here right now working in a clothing store, for example. If I were rich, I wouldn't be here right now, for example, working in a clothing store or any place else. Exercise E, complete the sentences with the correct verb from the unreal situations. he looks as if he were the king of Kurdistan. So, and the verb is be. That's why we chose were. Number 1, they behaved as though they know each other for years. So, what's the correct answer here? Yes, very good. They had known, because of the verb know. They behaved as though they had known each other for years. Do they know each other for years? No, but they act like it. Number 2, it looks as though they be not here for a while. Be not. So the answer would be hadn't been here for a while. It looks as though they hadn't been here for a while. Number 3, he acts as if he innocent, and the verb is be. So he acts as if he, yes, was innocent. He acts as if he was innocent, but he is not. He's guilty. I try to talk as if I, and the verb is be, a few years older. A few years older. So I try to talk as if I were a few years older. So I try to talk. So he's still young. Number 5, she laughed as if she think it was funny. She laughed as if she, and the verb think. So let's see the correct answer here. As if she had thought it was funny. It was funny. Number 6, there was water all over the street, as though it, and the verb rain. So there was water all over the street, as though it, yes, had rained. As though it had rained. Did it rain? No. Number 7, they walked right in, as though they live here. So the verb is live. So they walked right in as though they had lived here. Number 8, she ran away as if she be offended. So she ran away as if she, and verb is be here. Yes, as if she had been offended. Very good. This is number 8. Exercise F, write a sentence about each picture. Use the subject and verb given with as if or as though. Here's the he and swim and the picture of a dolphin. So we say he swims as if he were a dolphin. So now I think you understand the exercise. Number 1, this is a picture of, yes, a baby, and he act. He and act. So he acts, yes, he acts as if he were a baby. So he acts as if he were a baby. And here we say, we see, this is what kind of car? What type of car? Yes, this is a racing car. So he drive. So what do we say? Let's see the correct answer here. He drives as if he were a race driver. So he's driving very fast. He drives as if he were a race driver. Number 3, it smell. And notice all the trees here, all the plants. So it smell. How do you think it smells in this room? So it smelled as if we were in a garden because of all the plants and the trees here outside. It smelled as if we were in a garden. Number 4, this is a picture of a crown, of course. And who wear crowns? Yes, kings. So he act. I think you know the rest. Yes, he acts as though he were the king. He's bossing everyone around. He acts as though he were the king. Very good. Let's go to number 5. It, look, and you notice here on the benches here. So what do you see here? Yes, very good. Snow. So what do we say? It looked as if it had snowed. And it really did. It looked as if it had snowed. Very good. So if you remember our previous lesson, the listening, we talked about the rescues and who performed them and who pays for them, rescuing people from hiking on Mount Hood in Oregon in the US. And if you remember, the content words that we stress that are usually stressed content words like nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, unlike the function words like articles, auxiliary verbs, pronouns, and so on, they are usually not stressed. So these are today's objectives: to match words with their meanings, find words in the text. So we have here 8 words. Number 1, genetic, treatable, diagnosis, undergo, inherited, preventative, controversial, and potential. So, as you know, in the vocabulary building, we have to match each word with its correct meaning from here. But let's see these words in text in the reading lesson next. The first one, genetic. This is possible through genetic testing. Treatable. The goal of newborn screening is to identify treatable genetic disorders. And we have also the word diagnosis and undergo and inherited in the same sentence. People who undergo this type of genetic testing are usually from a family in which many members have had particular inherited diseases. Inherited disease. So we will see what's the meaning of inherited later. Number 6, preventative. It warns of the need for preventative care, and we have the word controversial and the word potential. So let's answer the first one. The first one is genetic. So what does genetic mean? From the word genes. I think you know the word genes. So let's guess the first one, genetic. Is it A, B, or C? So the correct answer would be E, related to the part of a cell that contains your parents' characteristics. So talking about the genes here, of course. Number 2, treatable. 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 What does it mean to treat? We'll be learning that later. So treatable goes with the letter F, capable of being cured. So treat, it means to cure. Capable of being cured. Diagnosis, number 3. Diagnosis, let's see the correct answer here. It goes with the letter G, identification of the cause of the problem. To know the cause of the problem, to identify the cause of the problem. This is diagnosis. Undergo. So undergo with the letter H, experience. To undergo something is to experience it. Inherited disease. So what does it mean, inherited? It goes with the letter D, received from a parent or ancestor. So inherited disease, a disease you received from one of your parents or one of your ancestors. Preventative, what does it mean, preventative? Let's see the correct answer here with the letter C, done in order to avoid. Done in order to avoid something, to prevent something from happening. Number 7, controversial. This is an easy one, controversial. Yes, it goes with the letter A, controversial, causing disagreement, something we don't agree on. Controversial, causing disagreement. And the last one, potential, goes with the letter B, the possibility of being or doing something. Potential, the possibility of being or doing something. Here's a fun fact for you. Stores lose billions of dollars each year to shoplifters. 25% of shoplifters are teens between the ages of 13 and 17. When asked why they shoplift, teens have given the following reasons. 1, because they are bored. 2, because their friends pressure them to do it. Or 3, they want to have the expensive things their friends have. such as electronic gadgets, cell phones, and so on. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.